Hello and welcome to Transformation Now. Hi, I'm Rita Rocker, speaker, author, trainer with SoaringHigher.rocks, and it's my privilege to be able to share good information with you to help you move forward in your life and also to impact the lives of the others around you. So I will be finishing up on information from my book, Hope at the End of Your Rope, Steps to Rebuild Your Life. And so I'm going to start off, it's actually chapter 13 in my book, and it's kicking your way out of the box. And a lot of us need to kick our way out of the boxes that we may find ourselves in for a variety of reasons, maybe some just recently, maybe some for most of your life. And so some of this stuff will be repetitious because we need, and I know I need, to hear things over and over again to really get them established in our minds. And so we think of kicking our way out of the box, and I love that thought because so many times we do just get kind of in a familiar place and it keeps us stuck. And I've experienced being stuck a lot of times in my life. So I just trust that these things will be very helpful. So we kind of think of older? No, you're getting better. And so I really mean this especially for people who are, say, 50, 60, 70, 80, it doesn't matter. But a lot of times we feel like, oh, I'm too old now, I've failed, I don't have the education, I don't have the smarts, I don't have the support, I don't have this, that, or everything else. I understand that. I've certainly been there a whole lot and still deal with it. And so what are the hidden desires or the ones that you want to fulfill? We have to put a lot of time and a lot of thought into changing our lives. And sometimes we just don't know how, or we're afraid. We just get bogged down with what's familiar to us. And so these are things that I trust will help you. Now, so think about that. It's never too late. I saw recently, actually two different cases. One was a 99-year-old man, and I think one was, what was it, 96 or something like that actually went to their high school graduating class. And I think that's absolutely awesome. Neither one of these men was going to ever let it get by in their life. That was something they had set their minds to achieve, and they did. I saw another one, I think it was a woman, she was 102 years old and skydived. And so honestly, it doesn't matter how old we are. I was with a friend the other night and we were just out, just listening to some music and stuff, and she decided she was going to go ask this gentleman who was with his friend to dance, and he was sitting at the bar area. So she walked up there and found out that he's 92 years old. We didn't think he was anywhere anywhere close to that. But he danced with her, and it was really cute because he hadn't just decided to sit home and hibernate and do nothing. No, he was going to get out, and then he danced with her, and I mean, it was just really cute. So let that be an encouragement as well. It's never too late to grab the brass ring. And I read the story about that and wondered, well, what does that mean? And many years ago, I believe it was kind of more like in the 30s and 40s, that there was calliope music with merry-go-rounds. And they were beautifully painted horses, and it was a really fun time for people to get on, listen to the music as they would go around on their horses. Well, there was a spot there where there was something that hung down, and it had just little rings in it, but they, just little like black rings in it that people would try to grab. But there was a brass ring in there. And so people would lunge up and they would try to grab that brass ring. And when they got it, that showed that they were so focused and I won, I got the brass ring. And so it was like a big accomplishment that they could do that. And so that kind of became a conversation in real life thoughts. Yes, I want to grab the brass ring. I don't care if I'm 60, 70, 80 years old. There's a brass ring I want to get. It's my life, it's my hope, it's my desire. And so think of that too with the brass ring. What is your brass ring? Everybody has one, whether we want to admit it or whether we're confident enough to do that, but you have a brass ring. You have something that you've desired all your life that maybe hasn't been achieved yet. Could be in a relationship, it could be in a career, a home, a hobby that you would love to do. I remember reading about a doctor he was a very successful doctor. He was tired of being a doctor. He was a silversmith on the side. He absolutely loved it, working with turquoise and all this. And one day he just said, you know what, I'm done. And so he moved to a mountain town, I think it was in Colorado, and became a silversmith, even though he was a doctor. So sometimes, again, it's like, you know what? I really want to do that. That's who I am. So I'm going to skip all this, all my experiences, everything I've done, and I want to do what I want to do. That's my brass ring, and I'm going to go for it. So think about that, no matter what age you happen to be. And there again, there are physical disabilities that happen, but I've seen way too many people achieving, like, what was it, America's Got Talent. There was a young man on there who came out with crutches because he had one leg, and a beautiful soul. And when he played on the school football team, and then cancer took one of his legs. And so he came out there and he said he was going to dance. And this young man just had a precious spirit. So he did. And when he dropped his, for a while, he dropped the crutches. And part of the dance was he fell down with the one leg. And then he pulled himself up with the one leg, and he did the most beautiful dance on the one leg. And then he incorporated one of the crutches back into it. And he won a golden buzzer because he was so phenomenal. So again, I've seen so many cases of people with maybe no arms or legs. A little ballerina had no arms, so she had no ability to balance her body, and it showed her actually using her toes to put on her makeup, and just a beautiful young lady. And she worked and worked and worked until she was able to do ballet with no arms for a reach or balance or anything like that. Another young lady I saw had one leg, and she was out doing a performance on the floor with a walker. She'd bring her body up in the air and do all kinds of things. So even things like that are so heartbreaking, I've seen story after story after story where people were able to do what they loved, even though they were missing limbs, for instance, or blind, or people on Dancing with the Stars that were deaf, so they really couldn't hear the beat, they couldn't hear the music, but they felt it. And so they did a very successful job. So again, things can hinder us, but they don't have to if we don't let them. And so always think about that. What am I letting hinder me? And what can I do about it? It's all up here. When we get this straightened out, we can do just about anything we want. We can create our reality. We can create the beauty, the relationships, the abundance. I'm working on that a lot myself right now, but it is so true. So think about how you can kick your way out of the box that maybe you are in right now. So again, as I've mentioned before, what is your true heart's desire? It's something meaningful to you, something that's important. Maybe you've been living your life looking through someone else's glasses. Someone, maybe like a parent, maybe wanted to live vicariously through you. And so maybe you went out for sports, you didn't really like it, but that's what was expected of you, instead of maybe being someone who is technical or artistic or something like that. Sometimes the male ballet dancers, would get kind of heckled until people see their bodies and their strength and their coordination and all the things that they have to do to be successful. So, sometimes if people have put a judgment on you, that's just their opinion, and it really doesn't matter, okay? So we should never let someone else's opinion determine where we're gonna go in life. No, we can't do that. Who are you? Maybe, I've talked to people and heard people like, I think one lady was even around 50, another one in her late 40s. You know what, I've always wanted to be a nurse. I'm going to nursing school. And they did. Where a lot of times people think, well, I should have done that a long time ago. I'm not going to do that. No. These women became nurses, or a couple people I know were nurses. And, even later in life, they really actually had wanted to be a doctor. But they thought, oh, I don't have the smarts. I don't have the money to go through school, whatever the case may be. Then they became a doctor because that was their true heart's desire. So always think about that. Maybe you've always wanted to be an international speaker and you love speaking to people, you love being around, you've researched, you have certain topics that are real blessings to other people, then go for it and get involved with organizations, get involved with Zoom calls with organizations where you can speak, where you can affect and influence other people's lives. Being a coach, I talked to a lady, I think she's probably late 40s now or so, and she just totally revised her life recently. She got her coaching certification and the yoga, and she's worked with cosmetics in one of the skincare companies, but now she's totally revised her life and feels good about it because she took the time and gave the focus to doing something different that she really loved, and she's very happy. Maybe becoming a designer, a dancer, an acclaimed artist, an Olympian, working with children in social services. Wow, we really need a lot of help there. So where is your heart? Your heart, not someone else's. Where is your heart? Because that's where you're really going to excel and you're going to move forward, because that's where your heart is. And even when I've seen people compete, as singers on some of those programs, and the experts, the ones who are already the singers or producers, would go, I felt that. I could feel it coming out of you when you sang. That was you. That you could feel their passion or their heart. And so think about that. What can you feel? What do other people feel when they talk to you, when they have any communication with you? What are they feeling? And they will feel happiness, anger, sadness, compassion from you, but you can also impact their lives by what you're sharing with them. And right now, with so much division in this world and in this country, we want to do as much connecting, as much love, as much giving and caring for others as we possibly can. So think about that. Positive image is so important, because people will feel the vibrations that we're giving off, whether it's confidence, whether it's fear, whether it's anger, frustration. There's so many things that we give off. And I've become quite a believer in energy, because everything is actually energy. And as I watch and as I listen and as I read, programs, whether it's with people live or whether it's, watching the programs on like YouTube and stuff like that, I see where energy is all about creating new and tossing out the old. And in order to have something new come into our lives, when our lives are full, we have to let go of something. It could be somebody we don't want to let go of, but they're in the way, so to speak. Or it could be just other things in life we have to let go of in order to have room inside your heart, inside your mind, in order to get this new thing that will be very fulfilling for you and very good for you. So think about that. And then always know that you are worthy. I've talked to so many people and had my own life battle with unworthiness, and that is not true. You're a child of God. You're made in His image. How much more worthy could you be? And so think about that. You are very worthy, no matter what has happened to you, no matter what anybody has maybe said to you or done to you. You are very worthy. You are more than enough. And I can't repeat that enough, because I'm seeing it too many places all over. And so you're more than worthy. You're more than enough. So, up until now, how much time and money have you spent on yourself? Sometimes people have no time to spend on themselves and no money for themselves, because it all goes out to other people. There are other people sometimes who spend all their time and money on themselves and just kind of ignore anyone else, including children sometimes. And so think about that as far as what time and money you're spending on yourself and how it's impacting your life, and also how it's impacting other people, whether it be a spouse, a partner, children, maybe as a teacher, might be students, people you work with. So if you really stop and think, you know what, I'm going to watch now and see how these people are reacting. And you literally watch. You're having conversations with people at work. Start watching what you're doing and then start watching how they're responding, how they're treating you, how they're reacting to you. Because reactions a lot of times aren't good reactions. So how are they reacting? How am I reacting? Am I coming all unglued? Am I keeping my composure? What am I doing? And how is it affecting them? How is it affecting everybody around me? How does my mood when I walk in the door at home affecting who's at home, or vice versa, even at work? So start thinking of that energy. Energy is everything, and it makes all the difference in the world. I mean, it truly does. So think about that. And the time and the energy. You know, what's pulling on your heartstrings is deep emotions or whatever. And so you always want to think about that. What's pulling on my heartstrings? And I kind of really like that saying, because a lot of times we don't think about that. But what's playing on our heartstrings? What is hitting us? What is touching us? What is impacting our lives? And so you want to think about that. And then what you can do to get beyond it. There's always a way. And I'm working on that a lot, learning a lot. There's always a way to get where you want to go. If you can't really get there right now for various legitimate reasons, it costs not a penny to think about it, to focus on it, and to just visualize in your mind. Because over and over, the people that I'm seeing that are successful, that turn poverty into abundance, that turn self-hatred or loathing into loving relationships, whatever the case may be, they focused on it until they became it, what they needed to be, and what it took to draw positive, good things to them. And so think about that and what you can do. I mean, you can go to bed at night before you go to sleep, visualize those things. It doesn't cost any money to do that. That you have as your heart's desire, that pulls on your heartstrings, that will actually turn your life around. And so think about that. It changes your behaviors, it changes all of your thoughts, it changes who you will allow in your life and not allow in your life. Okay? And so think about that. It made a huge difference. So I say, you know, it's time to dust your ambitions off and get going. And I can't stress that enough. I don't care how old you are or what you've been through. I've been through so much trauma in my life, but it's like, you know what? I'm not going to let that ruin the rest of my life, what there is of it. No, can't do that. And same with you. And so think, though, you cannot move forward if you're looking in the rear view mirror. And so many times we do that. We let things from the past affect us. And no, we can't do that. So those thoughts come to you, what do? You stop it immediately. You do the brain jujitsu, as I call it, and you flip that thought and you let go of it, okay? It doesn't serve you anymore. It keeps you stuck where you are. And so when those thoughts come to you because you stop to look in the rearview mirror, well, this is what happened before, so I better not try this now, you know, all of that. And all that's going to do is cause you to stay stuck. So, you know, a year from now, 5 years from now, you can look back and say, why am I in the same spot that I was in 5 years ago, 1 year ago? Because I haven't done anything to change my thoughts, to change my behaviors. And so just think about that and dust off those ambitions. So your new motto, and I love this, is step aside, world, I'm coming through. Tell yourself that, you know, 100 times a day if you need to. Step aside, world, I'm coming through. My turn now. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to go for that brass ring. And nothing can stop me. Of course, there again, it has to be positive. It can't have a horrible impact on other people. But always think about that. So overcoming the mindset firmly that's planted, you know, in our minds a lot of times from when we were little. Mine was 5 years old. It doesn't matter, but we can't let that stay there. We have to dig it out. And every time it pops up and a weed pops up, we pull it out and go forward. Just like when you're planting flowers, planting crops, there's weeds that are going to come up. There are things that are going to come up to try to choke out the good. And what do? You pull them out. Same with the mind. And so again, think about that and overcome that mindset. It takes work. It does take a lot of work. So you want to be dedicated and focused in order to do that much work. So think about the changes that you want to make in your life to increase your knowledge, to change your relationships, to, you know, get involved with other people who are going the same direction you are. If you try to stay in with people or relationships where they're going this way and your whole heart's desire is to go that way, they have to be cut off to make room for new people that will be on the same road that you are on. So think of the human spirit as a tire that's low on air. If it's going flat, you have to pump up the tire again to get back on the road. Well, sometimes our hearts, our minds are going flat. We've been deflated, we've been hurt, sad, whatever the case may be, and because of that, our energy has dropped. People will read low energy. They will feel low energy, and what does that do? It brings other people with low energy into your life, onto your path, and you don't want that. So think about that tire. Just like a tire has to be pumped up again when it's going flat, so do we. So do we. So many times we have to get pumped up again and we have to move forward. So always think about that to recharge your battery, and then write down, what do I need to do? I've said this before, but is it eat better, get in better shape, turn off the TV with a lot of the violence or the crazy stuff, and start learning. I mean, I've spent a lot of time these past 2 weeks watching like relationship development, things like that with really solid people on YouTube, and I'm learning a lot. So am I watching much else on TV? Not really, no. Because what I want to do is, I'm older, but I'm learning and I'm studying success principles that will change my life and the lives of those around me. So think about, what do you need to do? And a lot of times it is things like that. And so, do I need to hire a coach to help me with my communication skills, my demeanor, my confidence levels, my appearance? I do that. But, a lot of times it's just little tweaks like that that can make a huge difference, impacting your lives and the impressions that other people have. And so think about that. What do I need to do to calm myself down, if that's one of the cases, whatever it might be, and then just feeling more confident. Sometimes it's just a makeover, just an outward makeover. And a lot of times it's an inward makeover. It starts up here, okay? So we always want to think about that and know that I want to formulate an image that's filled with positive energy, attitude, things that will draw people to me, the positive people to me, so I can go out and impact other people's lives. And it's not all about us. Yes, we need to do those things to feel confident and to move forward, but at the same time, it's also to acquire the ability to help other people along the way. It should never be all about me. It should be all about us and what we can do to change the world together, because right now we need a lot of that. And so always allow your mind to be able to think of new and wonderful possibilities. I could thought, oh, this is kind of silly. What good is that going to do? But no, I'm learning. It does everything in your life. So you realize what's going on. You decide what tools and processes you need to do to rebuild your life, and through a lot of prayer, a lot of study, you can see, what? This part of my life is really broken down. I need to rebuild that part of my life. So you can start designing that part of your life and rise up to what you were intended for. And there's definitely something your life was intended for. Ask God if you're not sure, because He will tell you when you ask. And think about that. If necessary, toss, I was thinking of this morning when I was going over my notes, I thought, okay, so, there's a puzzle, which is your life. And you have all these pieces here, and it's like, you know what, I don't like the way this puzzle looks. And so I kind of thought in my mind, it'd be like taking all the puzzle pieces from a box and just throwing them all over the table and start over. Say, okay, you know what, I'm going to create a little different design with these puzzle pieces. And so you picture your new life, your new design, and then you make puzzle pieces out of that, throw them out there, and one by one, put them together until they create the kind of life, the kind of relationships, the kind of love, the kind of intelligence that you want. Because we're all intelligent, we all have a mind. Sometimes we get stuck where we're not using our mind, we're just letting day-to-day reflect on us, we're letting day-to-day circumstances rule our lives instead of us ruling our circumstances. And once you really wake up to that, if that's an issue, then you're going, oh my gosh, yeah, I do have a right to change this. I do have the ability to change this. I can go forward. I can create a new design for my life. I'm going to do it. And then do it. And every time it tries to stop you by a circumstance, some issue, something that's going on in your life, go, nope. I may have to stop and take care of something that needs to be taken care of, and then I'm going to get right back and do what I need to do. So think about that and go forward. That is absolutely so critical. So rebuild, rise up. Remember, you are responsible for your legacy, no one else. You are responsible. So know what you have to do to get there. I wish you all the best. I'll continue on a little bit different focus next time, but God bless you. Thank you. See you again.